No, sir, I'm okay. I just wanted him to know that I have a critical illness. I was like, all right, cool. Knowing that I'm a teacher, it is still my responsibility to ensure that the proper protocols are followed. And I should have sent him to the nurse, and so that was my downfall. My mother emailed me, I responded. I was not combative or anything in my response to her, even though there was a part in the email where she suggested or implicated that I was negligent with her son, and I had to set the record straight because one, it was during lunchtime. These students were not my responsibility during that time. Zine, I remember going to work the next day and I saw the nurse, the grade coordinator, as well as the VP having a conversation. I parked in my regular spot, and while I was approaching them, the principal asked me, the VP rather, "Are you Mr. Reed?" So I was like, "Yes, sir, I am." He was like, "Okay, I just want you to know that I read your email to the parent and I understand the situation. Whilst it was not combative, you should have sent him to the nurse, and next time you send him to the nurse because it's your responsibility." And he was very forward, a little bit too strong for my liking in his approach towards me, but I was like, all right, cool, it's fine, I understand. I really did blunder there, so I will just go with the flow. Zine, I did agree with him that I should have sent him to the nurse, and we got over it. Anyway, I remember going home the evening. Again, this is in September. I remember going home that evening and I had a Teacher's Chronicles sort of a thing on social media where I would come and talk about my experiences as a teacher overall. I wouldn't give any personal information or any information that could easily identify which institution rather, or particular personnel I was making reference to or whatever. And so I remember talking about the situation. I did not call any names. In the email I posted a copy of, which was my response to the parent, I blurred out the names and everything, so no one would have known that I was talking about St. George's College 1 or I was talking about Jane or Mary. Zine, I made the post, everything was okay. I didn't think much of it because, again, this is something I would regularly do. Post a day to talk about my experience as a teacher in the classroom, in the Jamaican classroom. One day I was in one of my grade 7 classes and I was having a session with my students when one of them just, cried out in the class. And I was like, what's going on? So I brought the two students who were, having this whole altercation outside on the corridor. And if you know how the high schools are set up in Jamaica, you would know that the corridor is not too far from the classroom itself. Now, I gave the other students some activities to complete. They were in groups, and I went outside with the other two students to kind of have a conversation with them to somewhat diffuse the situation. I would love to believe that that is a natural part of my responsibility as a teacher. The VP passed me 3 times, to be exact. Came back down and he just kept looking at me. When he went upstairs the third time down and said, "Mr. Reed, what are you doing out here?" That question kind of puzzled me because, one, you have no right asking me such a question because I'm an adult. And obviously you see me talking to 2 students, so you kind of see what me I do. Anyway, I responded by saying, "Sir, I'm trying to diffuse a situation here with 2 of my students." He was like, "Well, you can't leave a class of 40 students to come out here and talk to just 2 students. Send them to my office, I will deal with it." I was like, okay, no problem. And so I sent the 2 students to him, or to his office. I went back inside and I pretended like everything was okay. I remember again in my grade 10 class, the same one where the altercation with the 2 students had occurred. I had a Hispanic student I never even knew the young man didn't speak English well